Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lorebound Legends, a podcast where my lovely co-host and I, Kailyn, we learn the lore of basically all things, but right now the Magic the Gathering story. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I am joined with Kailyn. Kailyn, how are you doing?
I'm doing better than I have been. We've had quite the month, I feel like. How are you? You can go into it more, I feel like.
Yeah. So if you listen to my other podcast, you know at this time my leg's broken. Pretty cool.
Let's
Cool
go.
times. Yep. It hasn't been wonderful, and Kailyn also hurt her knee. So we've both been really kind of injured and stuff. I've been just on some painkillers, relaxing, living the good life. But yeah, we haven't really been able to get out and about and just trying to do the daily things we need to do have been taking up the time. So that's where the lore-bound stuff has been. I've been off work for a while, but again, I've just been laying in bed injured.
I'm the warden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Prop your foot up.
Exactly. You get it.
Ice it.
Yeah. So, I've just been relaxing and stuff like that, looking more and more at like Magic card stuff. I've been playing some games, which I never get to. And then, I had to go to the doctor a bunch. Found out I need glasses. I have glasses. It's a whole to do.
You needed to break your leg so that you could get all this other stuff done?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's an unorthodox way to get a vacation, but it works. But no, like
a painful vacation?
yeah. But yeah, actually my leg is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to just not be on it in general. And that's pretty much what's been going on.
Yeah.
We left the story off a month ago at this point.
Sheesh.
With like kind of just the background of what Bloomburrow is.
The locations, the people.
Yeah, exactly. That like the place in Bloomburrow. Bloomburrow is the plain, but they're in Valley. And it's the journey in Valley. So we're going to go through a little bit of the story today. And I think we're going to just kind of read a little bit from the story here and there, stop to talk. You get it, the gist of it. So I will jump right into it, I guess. And let's let
Like
Kailyn,
a little frog?
like a little frog. It all lines up.
It all segues.
Do you wanna quickly show your little thing that you've got there? She's got a fidget thing.
I've brought a fidget, and it's better than a little screw. It's a capybara with a pig hat. I love him. He's very soft.
That she found yesterday. She's like, look at what I found. She's shaking in my face. I'm just trying to
I wasn't
down.
gonna get him because I was like, it's like $20 that I can't really like justify just buying this little guy. But I was gonna get like a few like gotcha pieces at a store because I was at the mall randomly. Well, I was getting Daniel's glasses, so wasn't too random that I was there. But I stumbled across a store, and then they're like, "Hey, if you buy 3 things, you get 1 free." And I was like, "Well, I can't say no." They got me.
I can't pass a deal up myself.
Yeah. I like looked at her. And I was like, "You drive a hard bargain," and I walked away to look for some other items.
Yeah.
And the capybara was in my
Free,
line
you
of
say.
sight.
That's how Temu gets me. They're just like, hey, like pick your free item, and I'm like, no way, free item. They're like, spend $70 and you get it. I'm like, well, I guess I'll spend $70 to get these pencil crayons.
Yeah, that I thought were pens.
You're like, you don't even use pencil crayons.
Yeah, you've touched them so much since you've gotten them.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, take us away with the beginning of the story, please.
Okay, so we got Helga. Helga stared at the mid-morning sunlight glinting on the rippling surface of the water, its pattern and importance as inscrutable. Can I not read? Dang, I think I'm learning something about myself right now. Its patterns and importance as inscrutable as its darker depths. Cattails and long grasses swayed above her, and a bright dragonfly chased a cloud of gnats. Warm muck and growing things scented the air, comforting her uneasy heart. The pencil she gripped seemed to move on its own accord as her other hand balanced her leaf-bound journal on her lap. Oh, look at her with her little journal.
Yeah, I'll pop the
what a cute
picture
little guy.
of Helga up. That was this week's episode with Helga. It's pretty cool.
Let's go.
Where's my? There we go. She'd come to show. I can't read either. I'm on
You're on
painkillers.
painkillers.
At least I have an excuse.
What's my excuse?
Yeah.
I'm not dyslexic.
You're also on painkillers.
Yeah.
She'd come.
Not at this point.
She'd come to the shore seeking clarity, quiet, and a brief escape from the worries that plagued her. From this angle, she couldn't see her own reflection, familiar and boring. One smallish frog folk, green skin, amber eyes, and a perpetual nervous smile. Nothing special now or ever. I feel
Dang, what the heck? Why is she so
special little frog?
Yeah, she's so cute.
Yeah. Unless being especially useless could be considered remarkable. Is it my parents? The story was
I
written
was
by
going to
them.
say, is this me dissing myself?
Yeah. Something shifted in the pond or shimmered above it in a heat and haze. Helga squinted, leaning forward, wondering if she was about to have another vision.
A long-haired shadow fell over her from behind, and a hand touched her shoulder. With a yelp, Helga leaped into the air, high enough to bump her head on the cattail spike before landing graciously in a heap of long legs. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to control all those long limbs.
You get it?
Yeah. Steady on, Helga, my girl, says Nearest, the rabbit folk's nose twitching with humor or irritation. There's no call for dramatics. Sorry, Helga said, collecting her dropped journal. You startled me, is all. And I wouldn't be doing that if you were about something useful.
Why are they so mean?
Why are they so... What the heck? Why is he sassing her? No wonder she's got low self-esteem. Nearest retorted, instead of fishing for visions, are your village chores finished? Helga winced. Not exactly. I was in the still room tending the fire for a batch of witch hazel infusion, but I didn't tend it. Yuan said the medicine was ruined and not to darken his doorstep again until his temper cooled like the fire. He used more colorful language, but Helga wasn't about to repeat it. That's just like you. Nearest tipped her leaf-brimmed hat back so she could pin Helga with a red-eyed glare. Your grandparents coddled you, bless their memories, but you can't while away your life doodling.
So
These
first
people
up,
are so
yeah, I was
mean to
gonna
this
say,
poor little frog.
I was gonna say, if I was Helga, I would want the calamities to come.
Yeah, I'd be like, screw you guys. Why are you guys so mean to me? I'm just a little... Oh, Okay, I'm pretty sure they also said that Helga has ADHD. I'm pretty sure that's what we learned about in like one of the other pieces, is that they were like, she actually does have ADHD. Now it's time to look.
Helga?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Helga's got something going on. I'll give you that.
Just hit Control Find. Control F, brother.
Oh, I'm Kailyn. I know how to search.
Yeah, I do. Now search ADHD. Look at that. She is persistent, pessimistic. She also has trouble focusing on things that don't interest her, implying that she might have ADHD. It might be a month, but my memory's as strong as ever.
Great job.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.
Keep reading for us.
Well, now I have to find where we were. The reminder of her loss cut Helga deep. Dag. So they're just like, yeah, your grandparents are also dead. The reminder of her loss cut Helga more sharply than what Nearest had said, but the rabbit folk wasn't finishing delivering her scold. And get your head out of the yawn scrying pool, Nearest said with a jab of her paw. You need to live in the here and now instead of trying to figure out what the future holds. None of that ever did anyone a lick of good. Sometimes seeing possible futures can help folk make better choices in the present, Helga said, her smile wavering. Be that as it may, Nearest replied, I've no time for philosophy when there's crops to harvest. I hope your future includes more work and less cloud spying. With a flick of her fluffy tail, adorable, Nearest left Helga to her interrupted sketching.
I hope your future has more work.
Yeah.
It's heartless.
Yeah.
Not hey, enjoy relaxing. Hey, no.
Yeah, more work and less watching the clouds.
They're mean to Helga. I'll tell you this first off.
Yeah, your grandparents are dead and you don't do anything.
Yeah. Although this makes me want to build Helga even more as a deck. Helga sighed. Nearest was only saying what so many folk in Pondside were thinking. In all her seasons living in the small village, Helga still hadn't found her place for her calling. She began to despair that she ever would.
Aw.
Around her, others went around. Wow, I shouldn't be reading when I'm on painkillers. Around her, others went through the work of their day. Rabbit folk with muddled feet cut and tied along stems of watercress for loading in wheelbarrows bound for the communal stores. Otter folk ran nets through the shallow waters offshore, catching minnows and dumping them into wooden barrels. A frog folk father passed a cluster of crested irises carrying a water-filled container of his precious tadpoles on his back.
Yeah, just so good at like building the story. What a cute little way, because tadpoles need to be in the water, so he's just carrying them in a little... And it's like a baby backpack, but for little tadpoles, gotta be filled with water. That's so adorable.
You get it.
That's cute.
Everyone was busy, at peace joking with friends, splashing each other to cool the sun's heat, or diligently focused on their labors. Helga struggled to focus on chores long enough to finish them. I get it, though. Chores suck.
Yeah, I don't want to... And especially she like wasn't tending the fire, so she burned whatever. Haven't we all been there?
Tale as old as time.
Every time I'm trying to cook anything and it's like, oh, you got to make sure you're watching this one. I definitely forgot about that one. And now I'm like, please don't burn, please don't burn.
You get it. The stillroom incident was only one in a long list of similar problems. Burnt carrot muffins, half-planted pea shoots, quilt pieces forever waiting to be sewn together. This is you? This is you with crochet. I saw your face.
No. I get it.
If she was interested enough in her task, she could lose hours and forget her surroundings completely. Sadly, few activities inspired that sort of devotion. Even learning to weave magic had ended poorly. Perhaps if could have spent another few seasons in Fountainport, completed her training with King Glarb, I love that name, but no, best not to dwell. She carried enough shame about her inadequacies to last through the remaining seasons of her life. Wow, they're just not nice to her.
She's also very pessimistic, as it said in the previous thing that we just
Would
looked
you
at.
not be if everyone's like, hey, by the way, your grandparents are dead?
And you also suck at work. Be like, oh, well, yeah. It'd be hard to like find something because like you need passion to like want to get things done. And like some of these things, if people like were helping her, like if someone was teaching her how to bake and like really putting the effort in, maybe she would not burn the muffins and like all this stuff. But it just seems they're like, yeah, you suck. And she's like, I do suck. All right.
Mood.
Yeah, now I'm just miserable. At least she'd always have her art. She kept her journal close during her conversation with Nearest, not wanting the rabbit folk to see what she's drawn. It was that rabbit folk getting, like, murdered, and then she was cooking her on the barbecue or something.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's why.
Rabbit stew.
Yeah, you get it. Sometimes it was mere whirls and waves that couldn't even rightly be called patterns. Sometimes she drew what she saw, studying brightly clad bird folk in flight or barefoot mouse folk stomping juice from freshly picked blueberries. Adorable. Sometimes a vision took over her hands, and she was left with a mystery, or, as others claimed, the products of an overactive imagination. Helga opened the book and idly flipped to the page she'd been working on. The picture made her skin tighten and her mouth dry to sticky discomfort. One of the tomes in King Glarb's library in Fountainport contained lavish, colorful illustrations of calamity beasts, the fearsome heralds of nature's changes, both seasonal and chaotic. Helga had never seen one herself, though her handiwork was in evidence whenever a blackberry harvest withered in a sudden drought or a spring rain turned to battering hail. What she'd drawn most closely resembled the sunhawk, though her rendering was crude compared to the king's tome, a crest at the top of its head angled backward like the dorsal fin of some fish. The hooked beak lay open as if in mid-cry, flanked by strange wistery protrusions, the thick tongue forked at the end like nothing she'd ever seen. Instead of 2 wings, it had 4. The usual primary feathers at the wingtip replaced with fingers and membranes like a bat folk's. This would be horrifying to see. The talons at least seemed typical, though imagining herself at their mercy was enough to give her nightmares while wide awake. Her penciled lines conveyed power, ferocity, the shading behind the creature suggesting a thunderous storm rather than a bright blazing sky. So this is obviously Maha, right?
No, this is the sunhawk.
She says it resembled the sunhawk.
No, this is the sunhawk.
Okay.
She's wrong. Yeah.
Okay, I thought this was her being like this. I've never seen anything this big. It's like the sunhawk. Okay.
Despite the day's warmth, Helga shivered. This had to be a vision. She would never think to draw such a terrifying thing herself. She needed to show it to Ivor, the village's frog folk augur. Except, perhaps because she'd never completed her magical training, he always dismissed her visions as mere dreams or fancies. Cries for attention, even, in the wake of her grandparents' passing.
Wow, they're so mean to this poor guy. Poor little Helga's like, my grandparents are dead and I don't know my place. And I'm like, yeah, attention seeker. Eee.
This time would be different. It had to be. If she were having a true seeing of a calamity beast, her village could be in grave danger. Helga stowed her journal in her pack and headed for Ivor's house. His neighbor, Anik, in the middle of sweeping her porch, said Ivor had gone to pick up some clothing that a mouse folk in the farmer fields was mending for him. Helga trekked onwards, down the single main road of what passed for the village proper, which led the few travelers from Hay Meadow in the south straight to the town of Dewrim, Mintvale, and other points north. She walked past mouse folk covering the roof. They really like the word mouse folk. They say it a lot.
They've said folk a lot for all of them instead of just being like, she walked past mice.
Mice. Yeah. Rats.
Rats.
Covering the roof of a weathered wood home with water lily petals, past rabbit folk digging up plump red radishes with brilliant green leaves, past a gathering of elders. It's a run-on sentence. Wow. How'd this get through editing? I can't read, but they can't write. Past a gathering of elders.
This is very nice. I was going to say they're really building the scene. Yeah, it can be a long run-on sentence, but I can see it in my mind's eye.
That's fair. Past a gathering of elders sipping mugwort tea beneath the shade of a cluster of leafy bee balm that would bloom when summer arrived. Yeah, it's a lot. She considered stopping and requesting a drink from them.
That's all my sentences. I can't even.
From them, but decided it would be best to finish her errand before she talked herself out of it. Thankfully, Helga was saved the trouble of further fretting by the sight of Ivor ambling in her direction. His broad lily pad, that's dope. I wish I had a broad lily pad hat, shading
That's
his eyes.
cute.
She would show him the drawing, hear what he had to say, and go back to what? She'd figure something out. Her grandparents' home, now hers, no doubt wanted cleaning. Lunch would come soon enough, then dinner, an endless procession of meals and days stretching into the future. Neris was right. Contemplating such things helped no one, least of all herself.
A clanging rang out, echoing across the fields. Helga turned towards the source of the noise, a mouse folk atop a watchtower, frantically banging the village's warning bell. But why? She turned, following the direction of her gaze toward the sky. High above, a huge shadow soared and circled in eerie silence. The creature was enormous, its wingspan as broad as the branches of an oak tree. Deep blue and violet on its belly, breast, and wings transitioned to black striped primaries and tail feathers. Turquoise magic suffused its beautiful, terrible form, lit up its eyes and beak within the hollow of its face, limbed its deadly talons. In its wake, velvety night followed, cutting across the bright blue like scissors through a cloth to reveal star-flecked darkness beneath. Maha, the night owl.
I'm gonna pop that up.
I
quickly.
would crap my pants if I saw this.
If you were just a tiny mouse,
I'm a little frog, and I'm just like, I have to go share my vision because it's kind of scary. And I saw that, I'd
you're a frog with
die of a heart
ADHD.
attack. Yeah.
Suddenly the sky is black and a giant, very angry owl is above you.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm good without this.
Pass.
Yeah. I guess I'm going home now. Without warning, it swooped in a flurry of wings, skimming the tops of the fields before rising again, trailing twilight. Around Helga, animal folk squealed or croaked in alarm. Some dropped to the ground, huddled in on themselves, while others froze in place, hoping not to attract the Calamity beast's attention. That is what I would probably do. Yeah. I'd probably just die of a little heart attack. My heart would just stop in fear, and I'd be like, all right, that's it. Others ran for cover to their nearby homes and burrows or to the shelter of any tall plants that might hide them. Helga fled back down the dirt road towards the pond, through alternating patches of day and night, sun and gloaming.
Just 1 second, quickly. Size-wise comparison, this owl to them would be bigger than an airplane is to us.
Ooh,
so
that's so true.
So imagine if you're just
like
chilling.
an airplane's never that close to you too, where this thing's just like, sup?
Yeah, right. Like just imagine you're just straight vibing, and suddenly this giant airplane is like swooping at you. You'd be like, whoa.
I'm okay. Well, and it like makes
whoa.
everything dark. Like now there's no sun.
Yeah.
Like just like, no thanks.
And the airplane has claws and is known to eat your friends.
Yeah. It's not even just like the plane is too close. It's a murder plane. The owl flanked her on the left, demolishing the mouse folk house with its half-finished roof. Those mice are like, we just did this. Sending splinters of wood and shredded white flowers flying. She veered away, and someone crashed into her, recovering and darting past her. As more folk realized the airborne danger, the scattering of scared villagers became a frantic rush. Another dive, another building erupted. The beast movements were completely quiet. That's even worse. That's so scary.
Well, owls don't make sound, right?
Well, but you would expect there to be like noise. If I was being silently attacked, that'd be so much scarier than if they were like.
Than if they were freaking out.
Yeah, you get it.
They have you ever seen the owls swooping over like the microphones and stuff?
No.
It's they do it and there's like no decibel sound at all.
What the heck?
Yeah,
How?
like
Like not even like wings?
Sound. Yeah, they don't make sound.
That's horrifying. No wonder these little animals would also be scared of them because, like, you don't know when you're gonna get attacked as well. Like obviously with Maha, it's like it's dark now. It's very dark, but if it was just like you're just having a little walk and then suddenly just no sound and you're suddenly in the wings of an owl, that'd be scary.
Let me see if I can find the video. Well, if you Google how quiet is an owl, almost completely silent.
Completely silent in both gliding and flapping flight. The wings are porous materials that reduce the noise of the airflow. Ooh, I'm learning facts today. The owl's slight swoosh is below the threshold of a human hearing until the owl is about 3 feet away. That's too close.
You know how close
That's too close.
You know how close that is before it starts making noise? At 3 feet. And like again, if you're a little mouse, that's still pretty far away. Like how many mice is 3 feet?
Yeah, but how fast is an owl compared to a little mouse? Like a human.
How fast is an owl? Average flying speed of an owl is 10 to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's.
Great horned owl is the fastest owl at up to 40 miles an hour.
I don't know if these are in. I guess I was gonna say feet per hour. That's not how you measure things.
How fast is a mouse? 8 miles per hour. So the owl's minimum 5 times faster than the mice.
It does say to scale it would be like a human running at 160 miles an hour.
The mouse?
Yeah.
Are they really just cruising?
They're crushing it, but that's like because they're so small, right?
At this point, when I'm just googling mice versus owl.
Googling mice and owls.
I'm just on painkillers. Painkillers watching owls attack mice. Is he doing okay?
Yeah, are you good over there? I'm just googling. Just give me
just
1 second.
googling, yeah.
Sorry, I can't see. That made me chuckle. Ugh. Okay. The beast movements were completely quiet, its passing marked only by the ensuing destruction and the chill wind on its wings.
Very chill.
It's so scary.
Very chill.
Very scary. Helga's heart tried to leap out of her chest. She gets it. Sorry. That's what would happen to me. Even as she forced herself not to follow suit, lest she be snatched from the air. Sparks from a cook fire joined the shower of debris, and soon flames and smoke heightened the chaos and confusion. The owl's attacks herded Helga and the other animal folk first one way, then another, until she was completely turned around and unsure of where she'd ended up. She found herself back in the fields, lost in a maze of cabbage heads, running full speed despite the pain in her chest and legs. That's how I hurt my knee.
I was gonna say that's just you on a normal day.
That's how I hurt my knee.
Being attacked by owls.
Yeah, exactly that. They're okay. I have been like going on walks recently, and Daniel told me to take a rest day, and I was like, no, I'm not lame. I got this, and then I really messed up my knee.
Well, you're doing walks and jogs. And
I was jogging, but I was only jogging like a little farther every day. But I was gonna say on one of my walks there was crows, and I did look at them, and then they followed me for like 3 blocks.
They're
so
freaking out at
they
you, yeah.
were not happy, and I was on the phone with Daniel, and they were like, "Caw, caw," and he's like, "What's going on over there?" I'm like, I'm scared. I'm very scared. See, those were loud and I was frightened. Can you imagine if they were just following me quietly?
If they're just silently swooping at you?
I'd throw up.
And you couldn't hear them until they were 3 feet behind your head?
I would throw up, yeah. I would not be a happy camper.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, the world became a bewildering mosaic made from shards of daylight amid the deepening gloom. So spooky, as if time itself had shattered and couldn't be reformed. The ground fell out from under her as Helga careened over the edge of a muddy embankment. Down she tumbled until she landed in Pond Creek, the thin stream that fed the larger pond beyond. She lay on her side in the soft muck for a dozen ragged heartbeats and heaving breaths, stunned and dizzy. Slowly she rolled to her back. The sky had succumbed to total darkness, moonless and awash with unfamiliar stars. Even the warm scents of mid-morning gave way to the brisk aromas of quiescent flora. She gazed up as if she were a bat folk versed in the necessary skills to read the movements of celestial objects, to divine what she should do now. Helga forced herself to sit, then crouch. The sound of chaos and destruction were muted by distance, but they continued nonetheless. She could follow the creek bed to the pond, hoping to find safety with other villagers in the depths of the water, and wait until the night owl finishes its rampage. Or she could head in the opposite direction, towards the nearest village, warn them of the Calamity Beast attack, maybe even bring back help. Pondside would need to be dug out of the wreckage left behind, rebuilt, and the folk. No, she wouldn't think the worse for things, the hard things that would need to be done after such a tragedy. Focus on the immediate problem, the next step, not the ones that would come later.
Hang on, I'm just saying. Whose grandparents are dead now?
Boom.
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 Your kids are dead,
Yeah,
Ferris.
your families are dead. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now who can I bring up?
Oh, wow. Why aren't you doing your job better?
Why aren't you doing your job? Oh, your kids are
you're
dead?
mourning your kids? Yeah.
Oh, your husband died? Oh, She shows her picture that she's drawn. It's the person's, their family dead. Boom. Yeah. Now what?
Oh, now who can't see things? It is just the rabbit getting attacked by an owl. It's just like, this is strangely accurate.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. It's like, when did you draw this? 3 days ago. Anyway. Her throat tightened. What would Nera say to hear Helga finally living in the present like this? Nothing likely. Just a twitch of her nose and a shake of her head.
Nothing.
Probably crying as well.
Ferris is dead.
Yeah. Get on with it, Helga told herself. Don't stand still and wait for life to happen like you always do. Move. Heartsick and bruised, Helga clutched the satchel containing her journal and limped along the creek bed towards the far-off promise of sunshine. Dang.
All right, so first off, that got dark pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was so whimsical,
It wasn't even okay. It was never whimsical. That one, it was everyone bullying a little frog, and then it was dark. But yes, maybe
yeah,
she was having a nice little jaunt, and then it got really bad.
right?
Yeah.
Now we go to Mabel. The mousy
Mabel.
mischief makers were at it again. Mabel stood outside the round door to her home, stirring a bowl of batter as she watched her precious, darling, stubbornly independent children perched on each other's shoulders, wobbling precariously.
Adorable.
Rosalind, the eldest and largest, formed the base, with Foggy on top and Pip on top of him. Feet slipped, tails coiled around faces and necks, and high-pitched squeaks of annoyance punctuated every fresh indignity they visited on each other. I can't read on painkillers.
Oh no.
All right, we're gonna pretend it's Kailyn reading. Kailyn, please. I'll have witty banter.
Vigilant.
Vig-
Oh my. Oh, that's.
I will.
Poor guy.
I'll record the next episode before I take them.
It makes sense. You're on painkillers.
How?
I know you said that the last in your other podcast, Into the 99, you were like, the music's too fast. Why is it too fast? And
Yeah.
then you're like, well, I'm talking too fast. I gotta talk slower.
Well, it's really funny. Yeah, there's one part of that the episode of that where I fully thought that I was talking too fast, so I felt myself slow down like this. I had to edit it and like try and like speed that clip up a little. Which is really funny. But I was like, I'm talking way too fast. I've got to slow it down a little bit. And there's like that kind of a slowdown in my voice. I was like, wow, I should not be recording.
Dang. Yeah.
Little inside baseball.
Yeah. Little BTS.
Full curtain
Behind
pull.
the scenes, all of you BTS fans.
All right, please. Yeah, you keep reading.
I just read like you know.
Yeah.
They were piled in front. Just how about I talk and then you lip sync it, and then in the video people will think you're talking just in a
I'll
different
just
voice.
deepen the voice. Yeah, bring it down a few octaves.
Yeah, we got this. They were piled in front of the parlor window, trying to hang the banner that they had spent hours meticulously painting. It read, "Happy birthday, Mabel." Well, technically it read, "Happy birthday, ma'am, Mabel," with the word ma'am crossed out. They're trying to spell her name. That's so cute. Their father, Clem, had likely noted that Mabel wasn't everyone's mother. Oh, okay, so they're saying mom. Wasn't everyone's mother, the same way he wasn't everyone's papa, and thus the townsfolk did not have the privilege of addressing her by anything but her given name. He punctuated this gentle correction with kisses for all, including his amused wife, who had her own privileges of the sort that led to 3 children and general contentment. Happy birthday, Mum. That's cute. Truly, her birthday was a beautiful one so far, sunny without being over warm. I'm like worried. Can I just say how we've started the story? She's going to have her little birthday and her town's going to get destroyed. That's what it feels like. Sunny without being over warm, a light breeze ruffling her brown fur, as pleasant as any in late spring had ever been in Good Hill. The daisies and yarrow bloomed in bonny white and yellow clusters overhead. The bees buzzed industriously between their cups of nectar, and, oh no, Oliver, the mayor, trundled straight towards her. His long ears moved constantly as he tried to eavesdrop on every conversation he passed, and he paused to chat with any of her neighbors lingering outside their woven grass houses, tidying up for the party or taking their afternoon tea. I was going to be like, oh, that's so annoying when people listen to your conversations, and then I realized that's me. And
That's
you
you.
also can't text around me because it's in my line of eyesight. I'm not going to look away. You're doing it where I am.
It doesn't
If
matter.
my eyes wander,
It doesn't
I'm
matter who
reading.
it is. If you have your phone out around Kailyn, she's just like, who's texting us?
Yeah, I just like to know what's going on. I like to be included. Mabel searched for Clem's plump gray form, but alas, her beloved must have been out trading the elderberry jam he needed to finish a batch of his famous cookies. It's kind of nice that they trade things for other services. That's nice.
They're communist mice.
Communist?
That you can workshop that one.
Dang it. I was trying. It's not going to happen. Sighing, she donned the armor of a smile and resigned herself to battle of politely intrusive small talk and good-natured prying. Ugh, that's annoying. Mabel, Oliver called with a wave. He was short as local rabbit folk went, with cinnamon brown fur and a quilted vest in bright greens and yellows. Happiest of birthdays to you, my dear. You are looking pretty as a portrait. She looked like a tired mother in a flour-coated, jam-stained apron. Thank you, Oliver. Mabel replied, you're too kind. In her mind, they crossed swords. Dang.
Chill, Mabel,
Yeah.
chill.
Sheesh. His gaze shifted to her mixing bowl. And what delectations have you and your brilliantly gifted baker of a husband prepared for your party this evening? If she kept talking long enough, perhaps he wouldn't get the chance to ambush her with whatever he really wanted. That is the worst. When someone's like, "Hey, how are you?" Like when you're like working and someone like your boss comes up and like, "Hey, how was your day?" And you're like, "Just what do you want? Like what? Get to the point."
Get to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you pleasant?
Yeah. What do you want? Should I tell my tale about one time it happened?
If you want to, I don't know. I don't know what your tale is.
I've told you my tales, all my tales. I was working at a grocery store, and I had planned on quitting because I just got like a full-time job somewhere. And I first had planned that I was going to keep both jobs and work, but then it was just too much with the full-time. And I like told my boss, or I'd given like my 2 weeks notice, and he had come over, and I was like, he was like, "Oh, like how are you doing today?" And I was like, "I'm good, like you." And he was like, "Oh, I'm not good." And he'd also, before this, he had told me that I couldn't go down because I tried to like bring my schedule down to 2 days a week because I was working full time. So I was like, I can only work weekends because I'm working like the other days. And he was like, "No, you can't do that." And I was like, "But I barely get hours anyway, so I don't understand why that would be a problem." But then, yeah, back to him asking how I was. He was like, "Oh, I'm not good." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Yeah, why are you quitting?" And I was like, "Well, it's like too many hours. Like I can't do both." And he was and he was just like, "Okay, but we could like give you the hours you wanted now." It was just stupid. I was like, "I need these hours." And he said, "Nope." And then when I tried to fix it, I forgot what I was saying. You distracted me.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to get you to move your mic. You were trying to fix it by getting another job, and then he.
Well, no, I was just trying to fix it by like reducing my hours because I couldn't do both, or I would just wouldn't show up.
I've always thought that was like a weird thing with jobs too. That like they don't want to give you all your hours. Like it's a lot of places where you can't like have like a full-time thing, and then you're like, okay, well I need something else, which is the obvious. There's no other way it could go, and they're just like, why would you do that?
Well, and like even if it's like I'm like, "Hey, I can work these days," and they're like, "No, we don't accept that." It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Those are the days I can actually work. So if you don't accept those days, then I won't show up for the days that I can't work. Like,
I've had that with my work too. I'm just like, these are my availability. And they're like, "Oh well, you need to have open availability." And I was like, "Well, I don't."
Yeah.
So and they've tried to schedule me on. I'm like, "Well, I'm not coming."
yeah.
Then
Sorry, I told you the days I can work. That's it. I have a life.
Yeah, life has to happen. Well, and again too, right? People have bills. Like there's a lot of people work like more than one job, right? So
Yeah.
if you want my availability, you just pay me more.
Yeah. If you want me to be here and only here, yeah, then make me full time.
But anyways, yes, you're talking about him coming up to say.
Yeah, he just basically came up to be like, "Why are you quitting?" But he was just like, "Oh, how are you?" And like try to make small talk. And then he was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're quitting." And then he was like, "Please don't quit." And I was like,
Please don't go.
I am though. He was like, "Oh, you can always come back if you want." I'm like, "I don't want to." That's like the whole thing.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not amazing, but now I'm in a job that I really like. So
There you go.
get wrecked.
All right, let's try this one again.
Yeah.
This will be a strawberry cake, Mabel said brightly, one eye still on her children, who had dropped the banner and were attempting to retrieve it while still atop each other. First strawberries of the season are ripe now, and you know one strawberry will feed half the town. Wow, these are little mice.
Oh, they're so small. That's a big strawberry.
That's a big strawberry.
Juicy. I wish I could be a little mouse enjoying a gigantic strawberry.
Could you even imagine?
I can. It would be amazing.
Clem is making elderberry jam thumbprint cookies to go with the strawberry tarts and muffins and crumble.
Can I tell you what that is? Sure. It's just a cookie, and then you would put your thumbprint in it, and then you would put the jam in the centerpiece.
In the thumbprint part?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And we've already frosted the carrot cake. Bryn is bringing her acorn scones. Niall promised us dandelion and turnip green salad. Van's making his chamomile fizzy drink. And
why are these creatures eating better than me?
Yeah, true. They're living life.
They're having the best time.
Such a feast it will be, Oliver exclaimed, and a lovely opportunity for so many to gather together in celebration. A deft party. Foggy put his foot in Rosalind's ear, which she tolerated with a wince. Pip, alas, then poked the tip of his tail into Foggy's eye, earning him a shrieked scold. Mabel paused her stirring, which was just as well, because the cake would be dense and chewy if she kept at it much longer.
So she's like so frustrated talking to this guy. She's like, I got to keep my hands busy with something. But yeah, with baking, you have to not always mix too much because it makes it not airy and nice.
You know, Mabel, Oliver said, leaning close and speaking in his version of a whisper, which bird folk in the cloud could hear. Silver the Bard said he plans to share his Order of the Holly Leaf tale, seeing as how it's a special favorite around here. And naturally, since it's your birthday, giving your what? Antecedents.
Sure. Antecedents?
Okay. Sure. Perhaps this would be an appropriate occasion to bring out that old relic you have tucked away in your attic as a historical demonstration, as it were.
I see. Mabel would do nothing of the sort. She prepared for her own parry and riposte. Okay. I couldn't possibly distract from Silver's performance like that. Poor fellow. Imagine me interrupting a perfectly pleasant story to wave around a family heirloom. You could wait until he's finished, Oliver ventured, his ears widening and angling back slightly. But then all of his efforts would fly right up in the trees, wouldn't they? Instead of everyone complimenting him on his fine work, they'd be attending me, and that would be simply too rude, birthday or not. Mabel shook her head, as if regretful. No, best to leave it in the attic where it belongs, and let Silver have his due. Along with some strawberry cake, of course. Dare she hope she'd disarm him with that one? Your point is taken, Oliver said, a foot thumb signaling he hadn't accepted defeat. But have you considered that Silver himself might be interested in seeing the relic? Not disarmed at all. Instead, he renewed his assault. Mabel's mother, Iris, in all the season she'd been guardian of the artifact, had never brought it down for her neighbors to ogle at as if it were a new bonnet or belt. If she was still in town, Oliver wouldn't have dared make his request at all, because Iris would have blistered his ears until he turned tail. Or her father, Ellis, would have spun a refusal so eloquent Oliver hardly would have known he'd been turned away until he was back in his burrow. Alas, Mabel's parents were on a much-deserved vacation in the northern county. I thought her parents were dead, so I thought it was like much-deserved vacation. I was like, dang, what a crazy way.
In disguise.
Yeah, much-deserved vacation on a farm. They went to live on a farm far away. And thus, Mabel was left to fend for herself. She missed them, not only because she was having to manage Oliver, but because it was her birthday, and it was only be the second time in her life that they were separated for the occasion. There would be other birthdays, she had told him, and it was true, but even so. Oliver was preparing another volley of protests when the tiny tower of mouse children began to sway precariously. Mabel shoved her mixing bowl at Oliver and leapt past him. With one paw, she slung Pip onto her shoulder, and with the other, she pressed Foggy to her chest. Rosalind landed on her rump, tail curved up over her back. The banner sank to the ground in a pile of fabric, its visible letters now proudly proclaiming Hap Day Bell to all and sundry. You dropped it again, Foggy shouted, twisting in Mabel's arms to glare up at his brother. You made me drop it, Pip replied, clinging to Mabel's left ear and half her face. That's very cute. Did not.
Did so.
I like it. It scared me. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Rosalind simply sighed, stood, and brushed dirt off the seat of her pants. What's all this fuss about then? Clem asked, his own arms laden with provisions and eyes bright with amusement. He must have bust Mabel's cheek, but it was currently full of sullen child. He might have bust.
Bust Mabel's cheek is a wild.
Is that like a little smooch?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. Okay. Well, Mom, save me, Pip announced in his sweet high voice. Foggy made me drop the banner.
I did not.
Yeah, there we go. And then he almost made me fall.
I never did.
But Mom caught us both, and now we're saved, and she's a hero. Mabel exchanged a look with Clem, said they were both suppressing their laughter. She's always been my hero, Clem said loyally. Now, which of you heroes in training is going to help me bake some cookies? The mention of cookies got their attention, but they hesitated. We have to finish putting up the banner, Foggy whined. Why don't Rosalind and I do that while you wash up? Clem suggested. Have to carry all this inside first, mind. Oh, hello, Oliver. Didn't see you there. Can't chat. Much ado before the festivities commence. Mabel? That's how you get rid of him. We are busy. Rosalind extracted the jar of elderberry jam from under Clem's arm, while Foggy and Pip fought over who would carry the sugar and who the primrose petals. Clem kept the sack of acorn flour, which was too heavy for the children to manage. Oliver watched it all, utterly bemused, until Mabel took her mixing bowl back from him. Don't let us keep you, Mabel said. I'm sure you got more rounds to make, ensuring good hills and fine fettle as you do. Yes, of course, Oliver said, ears resuming their usual outward-facing posture. If he noticed she had dodged further questions about her family heirloom, he didn't say anything of it. The fencing was over for now. Mabel was about to close the door behind her when the sound of rapid footsteps and labored breathing approached from the door, making her hesitate. Jennifer, one of the local weasel folk, raced up to Oliver and gestured him in the direction she'd come from. Oliver, you must see this, Jennifer said. Lowena's on lookout. She says, she sucked in a breath, there's a stranger in Pond Creek, and she don't look well at all. Mabel propped her bowl of batter on the table in the front hall, then grabbed her sheathed rapier from the wall. Clem, she called, trouble at the creek, be back in a trice. Stay safe, Clem replied. I'll mind the littles. Oh, is she just a little hero? Oliver and Jennifer had a head start, but Mabel quickly caught up, jogging past white petal roofs and woven grass walls interspersed with the larger painted clay burrows favored by rabbit folk families, including the miller with her tall windmill. Colorful glass containers lined the cobble street, waiting to collect rainwater from the next spring storm, due to pass through any day now. Tiny gardens bloomed with foxglove, starflower, sweet alyssum, and of course, lily of the valley. Towering above it all, the wooden homes of bad folk stood atop long poles, windows dark as their denizens slept until dusk. Curious onlookers paused in their own errands, pushing wheelbarrows or carrying sacks of groceries, or they poked their heads out their windows or stood in front of their cozy homes, asking Oliver what was happening. Mabel paid them no mind, concentrating on getting to the creek as fast as her small legs could carry her. A growing crowd gathered around a young frog folk collapsed between two waterside homes. The poor thing was caked in mud and clearly exhausted, her pale green skin tinged with gray, her eyes closed. Give her room, Mabel ordered. The assembled townsfolk obligingly took a few steps backward. Room, yes, Oliver repeated, panting up to stand beside her. Mabel carefully rested upon the frog folk's head, and her lower eyelids opened, showing only thin crescents of amber beneath dark pupils.
Help, please.
She croaked. Help with what, friend? Mabel asked. What happened to you?
Attack, Calamity Beast.
The frog folk's eyes closed again, and she went limp, unconscious. Did she say Calamity Beast?
Did she say Calamity Beast?
Someone behind Mabel squeaked. Murmurs rippled through the crowd like a stiff breeze on a turnip field. Soon the rumor would sweep over all of Good Hill, and no doubt grow in the telling. You and you, Mabel pointed, fetch Dellen and help bring a litter to carry her. The healer was no doubt in the middle of her afternoon nap and wouldn't appreciate the interruption, but needs must. To where? Oliver said. She can stay with me for now. Mabel replied, I'll keep her safe and get a story out of the poor dear as soon as she woke up. Where had the frog folk come from? What dire fate had she barely escaped with her life? Mabel gazed into the distance along the creek's winding path, mentally mapping which villages lay in the direction. Then she raised her eyes to the horizon and the afternoon sky dotted with thin clouds, scanning for any sign that the Calamity Beast might turn its wild destructive power on Good Hill next. Dellen arrived eventually, and Oliver wrung his hands as Mabel helped load the frog folk into the litter. She led the way to her home, considering what she would tell Clem and her children as she clutched her rapier tightly with one hand. Whatever else happens, Mabel thought grimly, my birthday party will have to wait.
People wrecking Mabel's party? That's mean.
Yeah, what the heck? Helga, go back. Your grandparents are dead.
Yeah. Your grandparents are dead. You don't have an attention span.
Yeah.
Are your chores even done?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a Calamity Beast. Yes, but the fire. Have you tended the fire?
Yeah. You burned it. You weren't tending to it.
Yes. So we have Ral. Ever since he returned to Ravnica from Thunder Junction, a single thought popped up randomly in Ral's mind, like a storm in a clear sky, during guild meetings and baths and whenever his attention wandered. Bellerin is alive, and I'm going to kill him. Mood. Assuming the damned mage could be killed. But after nearly 2 years of believing he was dead, lost in the Phyrexian invasion. Spoilers. Finding out he'd instead been masquerading as the nightmarish Ashiok so he could steal some kind of weird animal. Well, I'm going to kill him, Ral muttered, hands laced behind his head as he stared at the ceiling of his bedroom. Kill whom? Tomek asked, voice thick with sleep. Bellerin. Tomek raised his head from his pillow to blink at Ral. He was adorable without his glasses, brown hair must. I thought you wanted to find him. I do, so I can kill him. Tomek flopped back down. You're not going to kill him. He's your friend. Was he? What kind of a friend fought and fled without explanation? You want to know why he did what he did, Tomek said, as if reading Ral's mind. You'll never know if you kill him. Stop being reasonable. Ral pressed a kiss to his husband's mouth to silence him. It didn't work. Your plan? Ral traced Tomek's eyebrow with a finger. I tried planeswalking to him, ended up on some beach in Ixalan, but I know someone who might be able to track him. Tomek's eyes scanned the dark room as he thought, will she help you? Ral loved having a brilliant husband who didn't need everything explained to him. I don't see why not. She helped before. When are you leaving? Tomorrow. If you're leaving tomorrow, Tomek trailed off as his hands blazed. That's too graphic for a magic story. What's this? If you're leaving tomorrow, Tomek trailed off as his hands blazed their own trail elsewhere. Yes, his husband was definitely brilliant, but then Ral wouldn't have settled for us. That's a little graphic for a magic story. This is a story for children.
We just talked about Mabel's husband bust her face, though. So
Mabel's husband did bust her cheeks. Yeah. Well. Whew, okay. Got a little spicy there. Please take us away back to family friendly.
Hopefully. I cannot help you. She stood on the bridge in a well-tended garden, white hair brushing her golden armor, face hidden by her well-brimmed hat. A breeze shook the branches of the nearby tree, setting a shower of flower petals drifting through the sun-kissed air. Can't or won't, Ral said. I can no longer walk the plains. My spark is gone. Ral gritted his teeth in frustration. You can't feel the blind eternities at all? No. Her hand moved, whip fast, snatching a petal in flight. I'm finally at peace. The dream. Damn it, there must be a way. Planeswalkers leave aether trails that can be followed. Most of you do it intuitively. And you? She released the petal, which lazily spun toward a plot of raked sand. I used to sense the trails all the way to the sparks at the end of them. Sense how? She sighed. How can I describe taste to a man with no tongue? Dang. Return to the place you saw him and open your soul. Great, thanks. Ral knew she hadn't earned his sarcasm, but he was too bitter to prevent it. He planeswalked away in a shower of sparks, leaving the Wanderer to her palace garden.
I was going to say, that's got to be the Wanderer, yeah.
That's cool. The place in Thunder Junction where he last saw Beleren was as empty as Ral had left it. Emptier, even. The vault itself was gone, leaving only the ruins of Tarnation. No clues, nothing. What had the Wanderer said? Open his soul? Ridiculous. But he didn't have any other options. Okay, soul, Ral muttered. Get to it. He closed his eyes and listened. Silence. He sniffed the air, dust and metal. He fantasized about further wrecking the wreckage with lightning, instinctively reaching out to the weather with his magic. Maybe a nice storm would cheer him up. Wait. His power brushed something. A hint of green. It felt smudged, like a word partly erased from paper. Had Beleren somehow wiped away the memory of his aether trail? That conniving little... Ral focused on the trace with every part of himself. The sense of greenness bloomed like a flower. Closing his eyes, he followed it into the blind eternities, and found himself in a field, surrounded by dandelions. They were taller than any he'd ever seen. So was the grass and the distant trees. What plane was this? Where was Beleren? He ran his hand over his face in disgust, then froze. What happened to his face? Were those whiskers? Was he covered in fur? Was that a tail? I'm going to kill him! Ral shouted, his eyes filling with lightning as he shook his paw at the sky.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so Ral, if planeswalkers come to Bloomburrow, they
become
like
little animals.
Rat suited. They get a fursona.
Yeah.
So 1 second, I'm just pulling up what Ral looks like on Bloomburrow.
Oh, we see a little otter?
Yeah.
Look at that little guy.
Oh,
he's got a silly little fit.
Yeah. That's Ral
dope.
normal. This is Jason Bloomburrow.
That's dope. A fox would be cool.
With the frogs.
With the frogs. I think, yeah. I thought those were rabbits. I was not paying attention clearly enough.
Let me show you what Ral normally looks like when he's not an otter.
I like that they used like the same artwork for the different pieces. Like there's one card that looks exactly like the otter one, just he's a person in it instead. If you go over.
Where?
Like if you go back, yeah, and then exit out of here, side by side, two cards are done in the same style.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying. So here's Ral, and then here's Ral and the normal Storm Calling. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the same pose and stuff. To be like, it's the same guy. That's an otter with lightning. Yeah. They only hang out in the water. He's gonna kill himself.
The water otter.
Water otter.
Yeah, and then this is our Mabel as we know and love.
She's so cute. I like that she's a little mom, that she's like getting ready for her little birthday, and she has like problems like nosy mayors. She's like, ugh. She's just like me for real.
Right?
Yeah.
I say we end at that point of the story for now. We'll keep reading.
That was fun. I liked getting to actually see a story because I think a lot of the times it just feels like, well, I guess they were stories from the lore we're reading, but it was nice to read instead of doing like finding a synopsis of a very old book.
Yeah, right. Like it's
maybe we go into voices next time.
Ooh. There is a podcast that does it like similarly. The Magic Story podcast does just read the story and stuff, but they don't have our witty banter.
Yeah.
They're not talking about Mabel's cheeks getting bust. It was in the story.
Can you look that up? Like BUSSED? Like that has to be like a little smooch, right? He would have
It's just a
bust
mouse
on her
throwing
face.
it back. Wow.
He would have bust on her face if there wasn't a kid there. That's crazy. What are you looking up?
Don't worry about me.
I'm worried about you. Can you look up bust meaning? I don't know.
Accountable noun. A bus is a kiss.
'Kay,
Leaning
yeah.
down, he gave her a brotherly bus. Wow, I got a different relationship with my brothers. I'm not giving them any brotherly bus. How about you?
I want to be off this conversation.
But
That's wild.
yeah, so this is our part one of the Bloomburrow story. Again, it's kind of nice. They did do a lot of world building in it.
Yeah. It was very nice to like see. It's like, oh, I just like the part where they're talking about like rabbits grabbing the bright red radishes with the brilliant green leaves. Like it was just, all of it was so nice to be like, I can picture this little world. The guy with his little lily pad hat and
Yeah,
these like desserts that they're bringing for Mabel's big birthday. It was nice.
Mabel's big party.
Her thinking about like she's like fencing with the mayor in her brain. I thought that was a cool aspect to it as well.
Yeah. The we're going to be doing a bunch more episodes coming up. We'll miss a bunch, like I said, because
yeah.
I'm injured. But I'll be off at least for a little while longer. So
And
we're
maybe when we record, he'll be off the painkillers.
Nope. I need to be on the painkillers to hear
does,
about
honestly.
the mouse.
No, oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
I wish I joined you.
Oh, and then sorry, this is Tomic. Tomic and Ral are a couple. If anyone doesn't know in Magic.
I feel like I could figure that out from.
Well, maybe not everyone knows it though.
That's fair. Well, I didn't know until we read it. So
Yeah. So this is Tomic. It's Tomic is another like an advisor from Ravnica.
he's
Tomic's
got a cool gargoyle.
He's got the sick fit in the Wielder of Law card. But yeah, that's Tomic.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's Anime Tomic.
I like the anime cards a lot.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Weeb. Calling myself out.
True.
Bakugo shirt.
Like I said, you do like your Bakugo shirt.
Yeah.
Bakugo shirt and a capybara. It's that trend.
I'm matching.
That is matching. It's
Yeah.
a sick flex.
Thanks.
But yeah, like I said, I'm happy to end us there. Thank you guys for listening to another one. We're gonna read. There's I believe 7 parts to that story. So
I like the story. I think it's very interesting.
I was gonna say if you end up not liking the story, you're gonna be in for a few episodes you don't like. So, but yeah, there's
but maybe we do voices and then we keep you.
oh, there's only 5 parts, so you're good.
Yeah.
And this story is by Valerie Valdis.
Nice. Good job, Valerie.
Yeah.
You've done better than any of our guys
Well,
before.
that's like I was saying, right? There's not actually the old stories didn't have much to go on. They didn't have a lot of world building and stuff, right? Whereas like here, like already
Here is like 18 characters. Some of them are from other Magic things, and now they're little characters.
well, and that's kind of the nice tie-in, right? Like
Yeah.
that there's like Ral's chasing Jace to find out what's going on, and
Yeah.
right, like they give you a little bit extra. They end up planeswalking to Bloomburrow, so Jace has some machinations on Bloomburrow, something he wants there. In Ixalan, he was doing things in Thunder Junction. He went and stole loot from the vault.
Yeah.
I think personally, I'm gonna call it right now. Write this down. I think Bolus is the next big bad guy again of what they're doing. I think
Oh.
Jace is gonna break Bolus out.
I'm going to dance. I
That's
don't know
it.
what's going on.
Yeah. Again, we'll get back to our normal timeline story after, but I do want to catch up a bunch of these Bloomburrow episodes with just knowing what's going on and go from there.
I like Bloomburrow. I saw a very cute animation the other day, which came out like a month ago, so I'm just very behind.
Yeah,
It
with
was just-
Biza.
Yeah, it was just really nice.
Yeah. The little mice trying to fight the little Calamity beast. They're big.
Not little Calamity Beast, big boy, big
Yeah.
fire wolf boy.
Again, the same
Spooky.
thing. The Firewolf would also be bigger than an airplane. So just imagine having to try and fight an airplane.
And again, this airplane, it's coming for you.
And it's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it knows it's like an airplane is just like an inanimate object. This wolf, it's looking at
Very
you.
animate.
It's coming for you.
Very animate.
Very animate.
Very hungry. But yeah, that's it.
Very on fire.
Very, very on fire. Thank you guys so much for getting through this one. Like, share, subscribe. It really helps out. Sorry for our delay. Sorry,
Thanks for waiting for
sorry
us.
I broke my leg.
Yeah.
My
You
bad.
should apologize.
My bad. No,
Might be.
I should have been doing some recordings and everything. I've been trying to lay in bed as much as I can. So
Yeah, you're trying to heal.
that's it.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. I end there. Bye.
Bye.